Assalamu alaikum, dear fellows. Welcome to the day 6 of the research internship. And today we will discuss that how to select a research topic and then how to write a research proposal and how to work on your thesis or your research report layout. So, before moving towards that, we have discussed different topics in our previous lectures and now today we will discuss the basics things that how you will select a research topic and what are the criteria for the selection of a research topic and what are the aspects you should work on while during the selection of research topic. So a starting point of a research in the selection of a research point topic before choosing a research topic, the new researcher should keep the following points in mind and choosing a research topic is the foundation of any scientific inquiry. It determines the direction of your literature review, the nature of your research questions, and the tool you will need. So the topic should be suitable for research or must be researchable, and it should be capable to generate data that can be analyzed and collected and interpreted or give some results. And the second thing is that the researcher should have interest in it. And we know that without any interest and without any uh, interest in that particular topic, a researcher can't work on the research, and it should be address a real world problem, and the topic should be chosen by the researcher himself, and there should be no compulsion on the selection of the research topic, because anything that is in the researcher's interest and long-term goals, that will work out, and the researcher will be able to work on that thing due to the personal interest and the capability to work on that thing. So and the topic and problem can be fixed in consultation with the supervisor. You can do consult with your supervisor or your mentor for the research topic, and you have to consider different things, and then there is a criteria for a good research topic, like we discussed that you should have interest. The topic should be specific enough, it should solve a real world problem, and the topic should be researchable, and resources should be available for that particular topic. Then we discuss the finer rule, which we call the finer rule. The first thing, a good research topic should be feasible, interesting, novel, and ethical and relevant. So these are the five things that you should consider while the selection during the selection of the research topic, and these criteria have been called the finer, and it's also called as the finer rule. So first of all is the feasibility, that the research should be possible to complete or the researcher should be possible. The project should be completed in the proper time, in the time frame of the planned research work. So first of all, you have to work on the feasibility and keep in mind that is it possible to work out that thing. You have the research facilities available, should have the researcher should have the equipment, supplies, and the other requirement to understand the research. So basically, you can't work on some sort of research topic without the equipments or supplies or the other requirements necessary for the understanding of that research. And the researcher must have the required expertise. The researcher must be expert in that thing or must know about the basics of the research, and the cost of doing the research must be affordable, and the financial resources available. You have to make sure that the financial resources are available, particular funds or anything like that, support is available, the financial support is available, and you can easily access the data, the population, or you can get the tools which are required for that particular research, and it can be easily done in that particular time. So this is the feasibility. You have to keep in mind this thing while working on any research. And the second thing is interest, that the research topic must be of interest to the researcher and the academic community. If a researcher does not take interest in some particular research topic, and he wants to work on that topic, so he will not be able to work completely or in the proper way in that particular topic. So there must be your personal interest there. You have to ask your question that are you personally interested in this topic? Are you personally curious about that particular topic? Are you excited about the topic? And then if it's not like that, then you should not work on that particular thing, and you have to make sure that will you be able to work it out and work on all of these specs. You have to ask this question to yourself and keep in mind that thing. And the next thing is novelty, and it is very essential that researcher is familiar with the up-to-date literature and plan the topic for the research while working on any research article, working on any topic. You have to ask your question that has this exact question been answered before, or you are the first one to answer that particular question? So you have to work it out, and you can do it with the help of the literature review by studying the previous literature that has been published on that particular research topic. And the researcher must be expected to contribute some new information to your field, some new information to the particular research field or to the science community or to the humanities. So your work must be novel, and it doesn't necessarily mean that that the particular research has not done before, but uh, you can work on something that has been done before, but in more accurate way, in more refined way, in more good ways. Just like there is a saying that most good studies are neither original nor simple duplication of other studies. So it's basically something in between the good things. So you have to work on that thing and keep in mind that things that yes, if you can investigate new population, or you can use new method or new variable, that would be very good for you and for the research that has been undertaken. So this is something you have to keep in mind, the novelty. And the progress of science is basically incremental, and with knowledge gradually building up from different studies, the question should be not be about whether the study has been done before, but whether it will add to the existing body of knowledge or not. So basically, the question is should be the contribution to the scientific field, not just you have to look that this study has been done previously or something like that, but you have to keep in mind that. Can I contribute something to the scientific community to through this particular research? And the next thing is ethics. Ethical issues must be addressed at the early stage of the selection of the research topic, and the following issues should be considered. So basically, if you want to work on any type of research article, so you have to keep in mind that will the research respect the confidentiality, consent, and the patient rights. So you have to keep it in mind and be ethical while doing any research, and the research should not be in conflict with the society, cultural, moral, religious, or legal values. You have to keep in mind all those things, and educate data must be available from primary sources, and it must not be plagiarized. And the next thing is relevance. So it must have the potential to advance the knowledge of the relevant field, influence the policies, or guide the further research. So that's the very strong thing of any research, that you can shape the future research, future policy of some particular area of the research if you work on that particular field, and share your guidelines, your research. So it should keep in mind that will the research finding be useful to the clinicians or policymakers or even the educators or even the future researchers, and can the results influence the particular community, or just like we can say the health community or the health outcomes or all these things. So if your topic meets all these five criteria, which is called as FINER, then it's likely to result in a valuable and a successful project. So you have to keep all of these things in mind, and while working on your research topic, working on your working on your research project. So you have to keep in mind this criteria, which is called as FINER, the feasibility, the interest, and novelty, ethical, and relevance. So these things will help you to understand your research better and to work on something that would be valuable, that would add something to the scientific community, that would add some knowledge to the current ongoing research, and that will also help the future researchers and the educators and clinician or policy makers to shape the policy or the medications or anything related to that particular field. So this is very important things to keep in mind while working on your research topic or during the selection of your research topic. So now we will discuss about the structure of a research proposal, and the key element, that what is research proposal, what are the structure of the research proposals, and what are the key elements of the research proposal, and how you will work on your research proposal, how you will work on the research proposal of your topic of interest. So basically, research proposal is a written plan and written prior to the research project or the research study, and also known as the work plan, prospectus, outline, blueprint, or a draft plan or anything like that. So it's basically a roadmap for your study, and it shows to others that what you plan to do, and how you plan to do it, and why your study is worth doing. So basically, such proposal is a very important thing in any particular research. It shows you the map, it shows you the way, it shows you the pathway to conduct the research, and it's also help you to get feedback or feedback of your study, and to get the feedback before data collection, and it will also improve your research skills and research quality, and also saves your time, because at the proposal level, research proposal level, if you want to do anything, any changes to the research, you can easily do that, but at the experiment level it will be very difficult, and then you have to work on the research again. So basically, research proposal contains different elements, and before that thing, let's discuss that why a research proposal is important. So the first thing is that it helps to refine your thinking. Research proposal refines your thinking, and provides a plan to follow. It's also facilitate funding or ethical review board approvals. If you have already taken ethical approval for that particular research, then you will be able to work easily on that particular research, and it also prepare you and your supervisor to be mentally prepared for all the work that will take place during the research at the start of the research project. So there are different elements of research proposal that are very important, and these are the 8 elements. And now we will discuss these all of these elements one by one, to make sure that you people do know about a research proposal and all the elements of the research proposal, and can easily work on any of the research proposal. The first thing is the title and the title page. And title page of an academic research proposal include the title of a research work, the title on which you are working on that particular project, the name of the researchers, which is students or the researcher, with the roll number or registration or some other form of numbers, and the name of the supervisor with the designation, and the name of the institution. So it's very important, and it should be concise and informative. It should reflect the variables and population by the name of the title or the title of your research work. People should know about the variables and the population, and let's say if you have conducted some research, let's say the association between screen time and sleep quality in university students or in medical students. So basically, your title will express that, your title will show that what type of study has been conducted in that particular synopsis, or what type of study is supposed to be conducted. So your title should be concise and informative, and all of these details should be included in the name of supervisor, registration numbers, and all of these things. Usually, different institutes have their own criteria or their own way or pattern of that particular thing. So you can get help from that particular academic websites regarding the setting of that particular title pages and names and addition of all these things. And date of submission of proposal should be mentioned on proposal, and title must clearly state whether the proposal is about. So basically, your title definitely gives information about a lot of things. And then second part of the research proposal is the introduction, and an introduction provides a brief description of the area of proposed research work. The research work you want to conduct is you want to conduct uh, it shows the provides a brief description, and it contains the answer of the three questions. Basically, the introduction should answer these three questions: why are you going to carry out this research, what are the reason to carry out this research. It should be given in proper detail, and you should also add that what have you set out to do and how will you achieve the result. So all of these things should be discussed, and it should set the context, it should present the existing knowledge, the gap, and the need for the particular study, and it should also end with the aims and objectives of that particular research work. And this answer to this question will definitely create the background of the research, in which you will discuss that why you are going to carry out this research, and in the objective of the studies, this will you will answer the question that what have you set out to do, and in the methodology of the research you will discuss that how you will achieve the results. So next thing is hypothesis, or problem statement, or research question. These all are the same things. So the background will lead to the problem statement, which comprise of hypothesis and the research question, and it is immediate objective which addressed in the proposal. The answer to the question helps to fulfill the purpose and objective of the research. So basically, your hypothesis will explain that why you want to conduct any type of research, or the research problem, or the research questions. Basically, the research problems define the issue clearly and concisely, and the hypothesis is a testable prediction. Hypothesis is usually used in the quantitative studies, and the research questions are useful when the hypothesis is not in quantitative form, or in if the hypothesis in qualitative form. So then you can use that research question. So all of these things will answer that why you want to conduct that particular research, what are your objectives of conducting that particular research. And the next thing is the research objective. And research objective was the essence of research proposal, and it should be clearly specified. It should be the objective should be broad objectives, and overall aim of the study should be discussed, and specific objectives in different. There are different ways of putting objectives. You can even use the broad way of adding objectives, that is the using the or studying the overall aim of the study, and the specific objectives are 2 to 4 or 5, or whatever objective you have or targets you have. You will write it down that these are my objectives, that will help you, that will guide you to through the data collection and the data analysis process. And then then comes the research design. And research design is basically logical and systematic planning and direction of a piece of research. And for research design, there are following different points you should keep in mind. So research design basically defines the methodology, that either the methodology it identifies the research population and give the reasons to why you have chosen that population. And it also defines the methodology, that either the methodology is qualitative or quantitative, or the mixture of both, which is called as mixed models. And then it also explain the general way in which you intend to carry out the research, and also give reason to choose a particular method or mixture of methods. This also explains the sampling method, that are you going to conduct a random sampling, or different type of sampling techniques. You will explain that things in that particular research design. And also the sample size and the setting of the research. And it will also include the inclusion and the exclusion criteria, that what type of patients or what type of study you want to conduct, what will be the including criteria or inclusion criteria, and what will be the exclusion criteria. And then you will also mention you have to mention the ethical consideration in the research design, that either particular ethical consideration were obtained for that population. And then the research design includes some subsection, like we have discussed, that it explains the research population, that what type of population will be studied, and it also explains the method. Also, this discuss the research method, that what particular method will be used and why that particular method will be used, and it also gives information, and you have to write it down about the data analysis, that how the data will be analyzed, and how the data and through what softwares the data will be analyzed, and you have to mention the softwares, different softwares like SPSS or Excel or Stata or any other or Python, whatever software you have used, or some type of molecular software. So any software you are using, you have to write it down or mention in that data analysis portion, and you have to include the descriptive statistics or t-test, chi-square, or any other qualitative coding, and you have to match the analysis method to the research objectives, that these are the research objectives. So that's why I'm using that particular method, I'm using that particular test, because through that particular test, or like chi-square or t-test or mean values, I will find out, or it will help me to find out answers to the particular research question, or to analyze the objectives. And then the literature review portion. Literature review, in this section, you have to examine the other point of view about the proposed topic of research, and start writing from the related literature, and then move to more specific studies that are more related to your research question. So the literature review provides you the theoretical background and the existing findings, and how your study fits to that particular research, and it also identify the research gaps in that particular study, that how will you will address that particular gap. So you do not cite minute details about every relevant study that has ever been done, and you have to concentrate on more recent findings, while also including classic studies. So you have to get a mixture of both of classic studies and the more recent findings, and a literature review should be brief enough, and always refer to original sources. Original sources must be used in literature review. So it's very important to work on all of these aspects. And then references, you have to provide a list of references. The literature sources to which you have been referred in the background section are very necessary, and the literature you have studied in the literature review section, you have to use the proper consistent citation styles, like, and different institutes you accept different reference styles. So you have to get information from your own institute, that what type of styles, what styles they do accept, like there are APA, Harvard, and different styles you can use. And then appendices, this section includes the glossary of unique words or any other details that reinforce the body of the proposal. So sometimes you do need to add the appendices, or sometimes you don't need these things. So appendices may include different informed consent form questionnaires or ethics related details, so ethical approvals and data collection tools. So you can add that things if you have conducted a questionnaire based study, a cross-sectional study. You have to add your questionnaire in the appendices portion. And this is also include the curriculum vitae of research, graph, table, maps, and any other resources may be included in the appendices sections. And now we will come to the last or the final part of this presentation, or this today's lecture, which is about the layout of a research report, that how you will work on the research report, how you will format your research report. So it basically have four components, which are as following: preliminary pages, then the main body, main text, and the inclusion and conclusion, recommendations, and the end that really matters. So in the preliminary pages, you have to include your title page, your acknowledgement. Acknowledgement is thanks to the contributor personally or professionally, and then the certificate of declaration, which states that this particular research was conducted by you, and this is not the copy or plagiarized one. So, and then you have to add the table of content and abstract. Abstract is usually 250 to 300 words, and that covers the problem, method, results, and conclusion section. And then in the acknowledgement, it is written to thank those who have helped the researchers during his or her research study, and it should be brief, simple, and modest. And you can even say thanks to Almighty Allah, and then your parents, supervisor, head of the department, staff, and agencies which provided financial support, even collaborators, institution where part of the work has been carried out, and the members of the researcher family, librarian, friends, or clerical helpers, anyone who worked with you or helped you. And the acknowledgement should be made at the beginning of the public defense. Through oral presentation, you will explain all of these things. And then there is a certificate page which clearly explains, and this section include the declaration, and declaration by the researcher using phrases such as that this is one type of the declaration that I have declared that this submission is my own work, and this is no material previously published or written by another person, and things like that. And it is been submitted for the award of degree. So you have to add all these things, and different institute have different formats. You can get your own institute formatted, use that thing, and then the forwarding sheet that is using by supervisory. And this is the certificate of the any research, any of your research proposal or research work, finally your research projects. Specifically, these things are very important for the FCPS fellows and for the final year or the graduates to MBBS students who are currently enrolled, or BDS students who will work on their final year projects. And in that certificate, we have the research report that is title. You have to add the title submitted by the name and registration, and then the is submitted to the partial fulfillment of the requirement of degree of. You will mention your degree, and is completed under my supervision, and I'm satisfied of with the quality of the work, and I recommend it for submission. So you can sign it from your supervisor, and then you have to add the table of content. And in table of content, you have to add the title of the chapter with page number, and section headings with page number. And then comes the abstract. And in the abstract, it is a necessary part of any research paper. And the abstract conveys the essence and brief details about the report, and it should contain a very short statement of the problem, like I told you earlier that it should be 250 to 350, 300 words. It should be not too lengthy, and it should explain the methodology and procedure adopted in the work. And shortly, it should briefly explain the results in the study in the very condensed form. And lowercase Roman number, you have to number it, all of these things with lowercase Roman numbers. And then comes the main body, or main chapters, or main body parts. So and this is the heart of any research report, and this part can be presented in chapters or discussions, and each chapter or discussion should contain introduction, research work, results, and conclusion. And material should be organized systematically and presented under appropriate heading and subheadings. And first, you have to write the chapter that describes your actual research work. After this, prepare the conclusion and introduction parts. When writing the actual work, collect the terms and note down the matter which are to be defined and described in the introduction. So you have to work out on all of these things, and present the argument that may help you, and conveniently present it as a series of numbered points. So chapter should not look like a report of isolated work. There should be link between the consecutive chapter, and link should be clearly brought out. You cannot write different introduction and different methodology. They are all of this should be properly interlinked. And then there should be no place for jokes or all of these things, and you have to use the correct or incorrect to refer to the results. And you should avoid using different words like bad, terrible, or stupid, or words like this. So you have to avoid all of these things in your research report. And then in the conclusion and the recommendation part, which is the second last part, and at the end of the paper, one can place a brief summary of the outcomes of the work presented in the paper under the heading of conclusion. It should be clear and precise. And in conclusion portion, you have to add that what type of studies you have conducted, and then you have to explain that what are the future possibilities of this work, and what type of future research can be conducted through this particular study, and how it will help the scientific community, how it will help the clinicians, or the future researchers or students or graduates. And the recommendation can be placed under the headings of recommendation, where you can add different recommendations, particular things. And then there is the last part, the end matters, which is the end part of the report, which is generally consist of references and appendices. Today we will discuss just appendices or appendixes, and then in the tomorrow's lecture we will discuss in detail about the references and the different types of references, different formats of references, and how to work on the references. So today we will discuss the appendices, and this section include the glossary of unique words and any other details that reinforce the body of the research paper. You have used different short words, or if you have using different abbreviations or things like that, you can put it down in the appendices, and the even graph tables, maps, or any other resources can be added in the reference appendices. If you have worked on some particular research questionnaire, you can place that research questionnaire in the appendices sections, and appendices can be placed at the end of the report and following by the references, and capital alphabet should be numbered. And this was all about the today. So finally, if we conclude this thing, all of these things we have studied today, the research proposal is a commitment. It shows that you are ready to explore your question with the discipline and with the proper way. And the report is your contribution to the science, and this should be clear, it should be well structured and well written, and it should be focused on clarity, coherence, and ethical approval should be obtained for your research, and scientific integrity, and all things should be kept in mind while working on any of the research topics. So this was about today's lecture, and I hope that you people have learned a lot of things about all these details. So if you have any question, you can ask questions right now. We will be answering to all of your questions. Thank you.